Hello there and welcome. I'm so glad you're here tonight. Right now, wherever you are, whatever brought you to this moment, I want you to know that you can just relax. There's nothing you need to do, nothing you need to remember, nothing you need to prove. Tonight, we are going to talk about something truly amazing, something you carry with you every single day but rarely stop to think about. We're going to explore the human body. Your body. The one that's holding you right now as you listen to these words. The human body is filled with mysteries. There are things happening inside you right this second that are so incredible, so perfectly designed, that scientists are still trying to understand them. And the beautiful thing is, you don't have to understand any of it for it to work. Your body knows what to do. As we move through this journey together, you might start to feel your eyes growing heavy. That's perfectly fine. In fact, that's wonderful. This video is here for you whether you listen to every single word or whether you drift away after just a few minutes. There's no right or wrong way to experience this. You're a miracle, not in some abstract poetic way, but in a real, biological, scientific way. You are made of stardust and time, you are electricity and water, you are rhythm and chemistry and light. And tonight we're going to discover just how incredible you really are. So settle in. Let your mind drift. Let your body sink into whatever is holding you. And join me now as we begin this gentle journey through 100 quiet truths about the human body. Let's begin. Fact 1. Your body makes 25 million new cells every single second. Right now, as you rest and breathe, as you listen to these words, your body is far from still. Deep inside, in places you cannot see or feel, an incredible process is unfolding. Every second that passes, roughly 25 million brand new cells come into existence. Think about that for a moment. 25 million in 1 second. That means in just 1 minute, your body creates about 1.5 billion cells. These cells are not random. They have purpose, they have jobs to do. Some become skin cells, traveling up through layers to eventually replace the ones on your surface. Others become blood cells, born in the soft marrow inside your bones, ready to carry oxygen through your veins. Still others become the lining of your stomach, your intestines, your lungs. Most of this happens without any feeling at all. You don't sense these millions of births occurring inside you. There's no pain, no pressure, no awareness. Your body does this work in complete skynoptimal, like a factory running through the night, producing what you need to stay alive. Bone marrow creates fresh red blood cells. The inner walls of your gut renew themselves in gentle waves. Even your skin, which feels so solid and permanent, is actually turning over constantly. The sheer size of this process is almost impossible to understand, but it reminds us of something beautiful. It's rebuilding itself in silence, replacing the old with the new, fixing the wear and tear of simply being alive. You're not the same person you were yesterday, not at the cellular level. You are constantly becoming new. Fact 2, you shed an entire layer of skin every single month. Your skin might look like it stays the same from day to day. It might seem like a permanent outer shell, unchanging and solid. But the truth is quite different. Your skin is always in motion, always renewing, always changing. Every 28 to 30 days you lose a complete layer of skin. This happens so slowly, so gradually that you barely notice it. Dead skin cells drift away from your body in tiny invisible pieces. They fall while you sleep. They come off when you shower. They disappear into the air when you move. Little by little, the outer layer flakes away, replaced by newer cells that have been traveling upward from the deeper parts of your skin. In fact, most of the dust you see in your home is made up of these tiny pieces of you. Fragments of skin that once protected you, that once felt the world, now floating in the air like microscopic memories. Over the course of 1 year, you lose roughly 8 pounds of skin. 8 pounds. That's the weight of a newborn baby, and yet you never run out. The skin keeps making more. It regenerates with perfect timing, restoring its barrier without pause. What you use to touch the world is always changing. It's a living border between you and everything else. Between your inner universe and the outer one, and it's constantly being remade, constantly being refreshed. You wear a new surface every month, though you never see it happen. Fact 3. Your stomach grows a new lining every 3 to 4 days. Inside your belly, there's a place filled with acid. Strong acid, powerful enough to break down the toughest foods you eat. Powerful enough, in fact, to dissolve metal if given the chance. And yet your stomach doesn't digest itself. Have you ever wondered why? The answer lies in one of the most remarkable defense systems your body has. Every 3 to 4 days, your stomach completely replaces the cells that line its inner walls. These cells form a protective barrier, a shield between your own soft tissues and the harsh hydrochloric acid needed to break apart your food. Without this constant renewal, the acid would burn through. It would create holes and damage. It would hurt you from the inside, but that doesn't happen. Instead, your stomach stays vigilant. It knows the acid is necessary. It knows digestion requires this chemical fire, so it keeps building new protection over and over, day after day. The balance is delicate, destruction on one side, regeneration on the other, and your body manages both at the same time, never letting one overtake the other. Even now, as you rest, even as you drift closer to sleep, tiny factories deep in your gut are working. They're rebuilding your defenses. They're laying down fresh cells. They're maintaining a barrier that is always young, always new, always just one step ahead of your own digestion. You are protected from yourself by a layer that never gets old. Fact. Your bones are always dissolving and rebuilding themselves. When you think of your skeleton, you probably imagine something solid, something permanent, like stone, like steel, like the frame of a building that never changes. But your bones are nothing like that. They are alive. They are active. They are constantly changing. Every single moment, special cells inside your bones called osteoclasts are breaking down old bone tissue. They dissolve it, pulling it apart, sending the minerals back into your bloodstream. At the same time, other cells called osteoblasts are building new bone in its place. They lay down fresh material, creating structure, adding strength, filling in what was removed. This process is called bone remodeling. It happens quietly, invisibly, across your entire skeleton. Your bones reshape themselves based on how you move, based on what you eat, based on how much weight they carry, based even on how you sleep at night. Every 10 years or so, your whole skeleton has been replaced, cell by cell, piece by piece. The bones you had as a child are gone now. The ones you have today will be gone in the future. Bones adapt to stress. If you exercise, they grow stronger in the places that need it most. If you stay still for too long, they start to dissolve in the areas that aren't being used. Even in stillness, even in silence, you are being reshaped. Your skeleton is not fixed. It's a living structure, responding to your life, changing with every step you take. Fact 5. Your liver can grow back from just 1/4 of its original size. The liver is the only internal organ in your entire body that can regenerate itself completely. If a surgeon removes part of your liver, or if disease damages most of it, the remaining tissue can grow back to full size. Even if just 25% remains, just 1/4, it can restore itself into a fully working organ again. This ability has been known for thousands of years. In ancient Greek mythology, there's a story about Prometheus, a figure whose liver was eaten every day and grew back every night. The Greeks somehow understood, long before modern science, that the liver was special, that it had powers other organs did not. In real life, the liver's resilience is both incredible and essential. It performs over 500 different functions. It filters your blood, removing toxins and waste. It helps digest fats by producing bile. It stores vitamins and minerals. It breaks down old red blood cells. It regulates blood sugar. It creates proteins that help your blood clot when you're injured. To do all of this, it must stay whole. It must stay strong. So when the liver is damaged, it doesn't respond with scar tissue like other organs do. It responds with growth. It rebuilds itself, one cell at a time, until it's complete again. Your liver is quiet, you can't feel it working, but it's one of the hardest working organs you have and one of the most forgiving. Fact 6. You have more bacteria living in your gut than you have human cells in your entire body. Inside your digestive system right now, there are trillions of tiny living things. Bacteria, fungi, viruses. They outnumber all the human cells in your body. This massive population is called your gut microbiome, and it's like an invisible organ that you carry everywhere you go. These microbes are not invaders. They are partners. They help you digest food, breaking down substances your own cells cannot process. They produce vitamins that your body needs but cannot make on its own. They regulate your immune system, teaching it what to attack and what to leave alone. Some scientists even believe they influence your mood, your thoughts, your emotions. There are connections between your gut and your brain that we're only beginning to understand. When you were born, your gut was almost empty, almost sterile. But within days, it became home to a flourishing ecosystem. Some of these bacteria came from your mother. Some came from the air, from food, from the world around you. Over time, this community grew, evolved, and became unique to you. No one else has the exact same microbiome. It's like a fingerprint, but made of life instead of ridges. You're not a single organism. You're a colony. Human cells and microbial cells living together, working together, co-evolving in the most intimate way possible. You carry entire civilizations inside you, and they help keep you alive. Fact 7. Your brain produces enough electricity to power a small light bulb. Your brain is soft. It's quiet. It sits inside your skull, protected and still. But inside that softness, there's incredible energy. At any given moment, the neurons in your brain are firing tiny electrical signals at lightning speed. All of this activity creates enough electricity to power a low-wattage light bulb. You have over 100 billion neurons. Each one can form thousands of connections with other neurons. Together, they create a living network, a biological circuit board that never stops running. These pulses of electricity are responsible for everything you do. They let you speak, they let you remember, they control your breathing, they make your heart beat. They allow you to think, to feel, to dream, and yet you never feel this electricity. It hums quietly behind every thought, every emotion, every moment of awareness. You are, in a very real and literal sense, lit from within, not metaphorically, not poetically, but actually. You glow with electrical energy. Your mind runs on currents that flow through pathways invisible to the eye, creating thought from lightning, memory from sparks. Fact 8. Your bones are stronger than steel, ounce for ounce. Bone might seem fragile. It can break, it can crack under pressure. But the truth is that bone is one of the strongest materials your body makes. Ounce for ounce, human bone is stronger than steel. A single cubic inch of bone can support more than 10,000 pounds of weight without breaking. The secret lies in how bone is built. Inside, it has a structure like a lattice, like a honeycomb. This design combines hardness with flexibility. It's made of collagen fibers, which are soft and bendable, reinforced with crystals of calcium phosphate, which are hard and rigid. Together, these materials create something that can bend slightly without snapping, but also resist enormous pressure. Bone is strong, but it's also alive. It heals when it breaks. It adapts when you stress it. It gets denser in the places where you need it most. So while it might not look or feel like a super material, your skeleton is actually a marvel of natural engineering. It's light enough to let you move, strong enough to hold you up, and smart enough to change itself based on how you live. Fact 9. The fingernails on your dominant hand grow faster than the ones on your other hand. Your fingernails are always growing, slowly, silently, pushing forward from the base toward the tip. But they don't all grow at the same speed. The nails on your dominant hand, the one you use most often, tend to grow faster than the nails on your other hand. If you're right-handed, your right nails grow more quickly. If you're left-handed, your left nails do. This small difference probably comes from increased blood flow to the hand you use more. Every time you write, type, grip something, or gesture, blood rushes to that hand. And where there's more blood, there's more nutrients, more oxygen, more fuel for growth. Fingernails are sensitive to many things. They grow faster in warm weather, they grow slower when you're sick, they change with your diet, your stress levels, even your age. On average, a fingernail grows about 3 millimeters each month. That means it takes around 6 months to completely replace one nail from base to tip. And here's something interesting. Your fastest growing nail is usually the one on your middle finger. The slowest is usually your thumb. These tiny differences reflect the quiet rhythms of your body, the small ways it responds to how you move through the world. Even at the smallest scale, your body is paying attention. Fact 10. Your eyes can tell the difference between more than 10 million colours. The human eye is a sensory wonder. Inside your retina, which is the light-sensitive layer at the back of your eyeball, there are millions of special cells called cones. These cones respond to different wavelengths of light, and they send electrical signals to your brain that let you see the world in colour. You have 3 main types of cone cells. Some respond to red light, some respond to green, some respond to blue. By combining the signals from these three types, your brain can create every colour you've ever seen, and the number of colours you can distinguish is staggering. More than 10 million different shades and hues. You can see the subtle differences between two blues that seem almost identical. You can pick out the exact shade of green on a leaf. You can watch a sunset and perceive 100 gradients blending into one another. This ability evolved over millions of years, probably to help our ancestors find food, spot danger, and navigate complex environments. But it also gives us something else. It gives us beauty. It lets us appreciate art, design, nature. It lets us see the world not just as shapes, but as a symphony of colour. In darkness, your eyes rest. But in daylight, they become one of nature's most refined instruments, translating invisible waves of energy into the vivid, vibrant world you see every day. Factor 11. The cornea of your eye has no blood supply. It gets oxygen directly from the air. Most tissues in your body are fed by blood vessels. Blood brings oxygen, nutrients, and everything else cells need to survive. But the cornea is different. The cornea is the clear, transparent outer layer of your eye, and it has no blood vessels at all. This is what keeps it crystal clear. Blood vessels would cloud your vision, scattering light and making everything blurry. So the cornea gets oxygen in a different way. It absorbs it directly from the air. Every time you blink, a thin film of tears spreads across the surface of your eye. Those tears capture oxygen from the environment and deliver it to the cornea. The cornea also gets some nutrients from the fluid inside your eye, but most of its oxygen comes from the air itself. This system is delicate. When you sleep, your eyes are closed, and oxygen intake drops. That's why sleeping in contact lenses can cause problems. It blocks the cornea's quiet breath of air. The cornea needs to breathe, just like your lungs do, even though it has no blood to carry that breath. Fact 12. Your heart creates enough pressure to squirt blood 30 feet into the air. The human heart is not large, it's roughly the size of your closed fist, but the strength it contains is staggering. With every single beat, your heart generates enough force to move blood through your entire body. If the main artery leaving your heart, the aorta, were opened, the pressure would be strong enough to squirt blood over 30 feet through the air. Your heart does this more than 100,000 times every day. It never rests. From the moment you began forming in your mother's womb until your very last breath, your heart keeps beating. This pressure comes from the coordinated squeezing of cardiac muscle. Blood is forced through valves and into arteries in rhythmic pulses. It powers everything. It keeps you alive. The heart is a muscular metronome beneath your ribs. It pulses with quiet certainty, driving blood through thousands of miles of vessels, reaching every cell, every tissue, every distant corner of your body. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to will it to beat. It simply does. Faithful, relentless, strong. Fact 13. You are taller in the morning than you are at night. When you wake up in the morning and stand up for the first time, you're slightly taller than you were when you went to bed, often by as much as half an inch. This isn't magic. It's not a trick. It's physics. During the day, the cartilage between your bones, especially in your spine and knees, gets compressed under the weight of your own body. As you walk, sit, stand, and move, gravity constantly pushes down on you. The soft cushions between your vertebrae get squeezed, and fluid slowly leaks out of them. By the end of the day, you've actually gotten shorter. But at night, when you lie down, the pressure eases, your spine stretches out, the cartilage between your bones reabsorbs the fluid it lost during the day. It expands again, like a sponge soaking up water. By morning, you're back to your full height. This is a daily rhythm, a cycle of compression and release. A quiet dance between gravity and biology that subtly reshapes your body from sunrise to sunset and back again as you rest. You shrink and grow every single day of your life. Fact 14. Your brain can be more active while you sleep than when you're awake. Sleep might feel like stillness, like emptiness, like your mind shutting down for the night. But inside your skull, something very different is happening. During certain stages of sleep, especially during the phase where you dream most vividly, your brain lights up with intense activity. In some regions, it becomes even more active than during waking hours. This is when your brain does some of its most important work. It processes the memories from your day, deciding what to keep and what to discard. It strengthens the connections between neurons, reinforcing things you learned. It regulates your emotions, helping you make sense of feelings you couldn't process while awake. And it creates dreams, vivid simulations that may help you rehearse for future challenges or simply explore the landscapes of your own mind. Far from being turned off, your sleeping brain is incredibly busy. Neural networks involved in memory, emotion, and imagination become deeply engaged. They replay fragments of your day. They solve problems silently. They explore possibilities. As your body lies quiet beneath the covers, your mind is alive, working, traveling through inner worlds that only you can see. Found 15? You replace your entire skeleton every 10 years. Your bones might feel like they've been with you forever. Solid, permanent, like carved stone that never changes. But the truth is very different. Your skeleton is being constantly dismantled and rebuilt. Every cell in your bones is gradually replaced by new material through a process called remodeling. Old bone tissue is broken down and absorbed back into your body. New bone forms in its place. Over about 10 years, nearly your entire skeleton is renewed. This cycle never stops. It responds to how you live. If you exercise and put stress on your bones, they grow denser and stronger. If you stay inactive, they start to weaken and thin. Your body is not simply maintaining your skeleton, it's engineering it in real time. It's tuning it to match your lifestyle, your diet, your habits. The bones you have today are not the same ones you had 10 years ago, and 10 years from now, they'll be different again. Your skeleton is a living structure, always adapting, always responding, always changing to meet the demands of how you move through the world. Factor 16. Your body glows faintly in the dark, but light is too weak for your eyes to see. You are glowing right now, always, though you cannot see it with your naked eyes. The human body emits a faint light, a type of bioluminescence, as a natural byproduct of the chemical reactions happening inside you. This glow comes from metabolic processes. When high-energy molecules in your cells interact with oxygen, they sometimes release tiny flashes of light. These are real photons, actual particles of light, being produced by your body. But the glow is about 1,000 times weaker than what the human eye can detect. So you remain unaware of it. Scientists have used extremely sensitive cameras to capture images of this faint emission, and what they found is fascinating. The intensity of your glow changes throughout the day. It's dimmest in the early morning and brightest in the late afternoon, following the rhythms of your metabolism. Your light follows your energy, rising and falling like the sun. You are not just warm and alive, you're quietly luminous. You emit light from within, a soft radiation that speaks to the fire of life burning inside every cell. Fact 17. Nerve signals in your body travel faster than a race car. Your nervous system is built for incredible speed. When your brain needs to send a message to your hand to move a finger or pull away from something hot, that signal races along neurons at astonishing velocity. Some nerve impulses travel at speeds over 250 miles per hour. That's faster than any Formula One race car on Earth. This rapid communication is made possible by special structures. Your nerves are wrapped in a material called myelin, which acts like insulation on a wire. This insulation allows electrical signals to jump from one section to another in a process called saltatory conduction. Instead of moving smoothly, the signal leaps, and this makes it incredibly fast. It's this blazing speed that lets you react almost instantly to danger. It's what allows you to catch a falling glass before it hits the ground. It's what makes your reflexes sharp and your movements precise. Beneath your skin, there's a lightning network firing constantly, invisibly, carrying messages at speeds that rival machines. Fact 18. Your sense of smell can detect about 1 trillion different scents. For a long time, scientists believed humans could only distinguish around 10,000 different smells. But newer research suggests the real number is much, much higher, closer to 1 trillion. Inside your nose, there are around 400 different types of smell receptors. Each one is designed to detect specific chemical compounds floating in the air. When you breathe in, these chemicals bind to the receptors, and the receptors send signals to your brain. By combining these signals in different patterns, your brain creates a vast vocabulary of scent. You can tell the difference between fresh rain and stale water. You can recognize the smell of someone you love, even in a crowded room. You can detect smoke from far away, a chemical warning that something is burning. You can remember a scent from childhood and be transported back in time by a single breath. Your nose is not just a passive organ, it's a vast invisible library. It's constantly reading the air, decoding messages written in molecules, building a map of the world that you can't see but can absolutely sense. Fact. Night. Humans glow with bioluminescence, but it's invisible without special equipment. Like deep-sea creatures and glowing plankton, humans emit faint bioluminescent light. But this glow doesn't come from anything exotic or magical. It comes from ordinary metabolism, from the everyday processes of being alive. As your cells burn energy, reactive oxygen molecules sometimes interact with lipids and proteins. When they do, they release small bursts of light. These are photons, the same particles that make up sunlight or the glow of a lamp, but they're incredibly faint. Far too dim for your eyes to see, scientists have captured this faint light using sensitive cameras. And what they discovered is beautiful. The glow isn't uniform, it's stronger in some areas than others. Your face, chest and hands tend to glow brightest, and the intensity follows your body's internal clock, your circadian rhythm, peaking in late afternoon and fading overnight. While your eyes can't detect it unaided, your body does glow softly in the dark, not with mystery or myth, but with the quiet chemistry of life itself. You are, quite literally, radiant, a gentle candle burning from within. 20. Your bones stop growing longer, but they can still grow wider. During childhood and your teenage years, your bones grow rapidly in length. They stretch as growth plates at the ends of each bone expand. But by your late teens or early 20s, those plates close, they fuse shut, and your height becomes fixed. You stop getting taller, but that doesn't mean your skeleton is done changing. While your bones can't grow longer anymore, they can still grow thicker, they can become denser, they can change shape. If you take up weightlifting or do heavy physical work for years, your bones will respond. They'll add more material where it's needed, becoming broader and stronger. Even the shape of certain bones can shift over time. Your jaw, your pelvis, your rib cage, all of these can change subtly as you age, as you use your body in different ways. Your bones are not frozen in time after adolescence. They remain responsive, dynamic, adapting to how you live long after you stop growing taller. Fact 21. You can survive without a surprisingly large portion of your internal organs. It might seem like every organ in your body is absolutely essential, and many are. But the human body has a surprising ability to adapt and survive even when parts are missing. You can live without your spleen, without one of your kidneys, without one lung, without your gallbladder, your appendix, your stomach, or large sections of your intestines. Even much of your liver can be removed and it will grow back. These organs can be surgically taken out due to injury or disease, and the rest of your body will adjust. The liver regenerates. The remaining kidney works harder to compensate. Your body reroutes functions and finds new ways to accomplish what it needs to do. This adaptability is extraordinary. It's a reflection of millions of years of evolution, of backup plans built into your biology. Though each organ has a purpose, the body's ability to keep going, even when incomplete, is one of its most remarkable traits. You're more resilient than you might think. Fact 22. Your intestines are over 20 feet long. Coiled inside your abdomen, folded with incredible precision, your intestines stretch more than 20 feet in total length. The small intestine alone accounts for about 15 to 20 feet of that. It's responsible for absorbing nutrients from the food you eat, pulling vitamins, proteins, fats, and sugars into your bloodstream. The large intestine, also called the colon, adds several more feet. Its job is to reclaim water from the waste moving through you and to compact what remains into solid form. All of this tubing fits neatly inside your torso through tight folds and muscular contractions. If you could lay your intestines out in a straight line, they would stretch across a small room, and yet they fit inside you, constantly working, constantly moving food along through a winding path of digestion, transformation, and absorption. Despite this incredible length, food typically moves through your entire digestive system in just a matter of hours. It's a journey of chemistry and mechanics, silent and continuous, feeding the rest of your body with what it needs to survive. Fact 23. The acid in your stomach is strong enough to dissolve metal. Inside your stomach right now is a substance more powerful than you might expect. Gastric acid, which is mostly hydrochloric acid, has a pH level around 1.5 to 3. That makes it extremely acidic, strong enough in laboratory conditions to corrode metal. In fact, given enough time, stomach acid can dissolve thin steel, even razor blades. This strength is necessary. Your stomach needs powerful acid to break down the proteins in your food. It also needs it to kill harmful bacteria and other microbes that might enter your body through what you eat and drink. But here's the amazing part. Your stomach doesn't digest itself. Even though the acid inside is strong enough to burn through tissue, your stomach lining stays safe. How? Because it's protected by a thick layer of mucus. This mucus is constantly being renewed, replaced every few days, forming a barrier between the acid and your own cells. Every time you eat, your stomach unleashes this chemical storm, a carefully controlled burst of fire that burns your food down to its most basic parts, so your body can extract what it needs and use it to keep you alive. Fact 24. Your body produces about a litre of mucus every single day. Mucus doesn't often get much attention, it's not glamorous, but it's one of the most essential and versatile substances your body makes. Every day, your respiratory system and digestive system together produce nearly a litre of it. That's enough to fill a small bottle. Mucus lines your nose, your throat, your lungs, and your stomach. It traps dust, bacteria, pollen, and other particles before they can reach deeper into your body and cause harm. It keeps your airways moist so you can breathe comfortably. It helps move food smoothly through your intestines, and it even contains enzymes and antibodies that fight infection. Most of the time, you swallow mucus without even noticing. It slides down your throat, gets digested, and is absorbed back into your body. It's not something you think about, but it's working constantly, quietly protecting you, coating you, carrying away the microscopic debris of everyday life in silence. Fact 25. You blink at around 20 times per minute, more than 10 million times per year. Without thinking about it, without any conscious effort, you blink approximately 20 times every minute. Each blink lasts only a fraction of a second, but over the course of a day that adds up to thousands of blinks. Over a year it reaches more than 10 million. These tiny movements aren't just random. Each blink spreads a fresh layer of tears across your eyes, keeping them moist and clean. It protects your eyes from dust and debris, it gives your visual system a brief moment of rest, and it helps you respond quickly to changes in light or movement. Here's something remarkable. Your brain actually edits out the darkness that happens during each blink. Even though your eyelids close and block your vision many times per minute, you never perceive it. Your brain creates a continuous sense of sight, seamlessly stitching together the moments before and after each blink. Blinking is both biological and neurological. It's a rhythm that maintains the clarity of your vision without ever interrupting your view of the world. You see continuously, even though your eyes are briefly shut thousands of times a day. Fact 26. Your muscles maintain a slight state of tension even when you think you're completely relaxed. Right now, even if you're lying perfectly still, your muscles are not entirely at rest. They hold what's called muscle tone, a gentle, constant level of contraction that never fully disappears. This baseline tension is controlled automatically by your nervous system. It keeps your body upright and balanced. Without it, you would simply collapse. Your head would fall forward, your limbs would hang limply. You wouldn't be able to maintain any posture at all. This readiness uses very little energy, but it provides enormous stability. Even when you sleep, muscle tone continues, just enough to keep your body aligned and your breathing steady. It's only during the deepest stages of sleep that some muscles finally let go completely and enter full relaxation. At all other times, your body is quietly holding itself together. There's a gentle hum of preparedness beneath your skin, a soft electrical whisper that keeps you stable, keeps you ready, keeps you alive. You're never truly motionless. Even in silence, even in stillness, your muscles pulse with microscopic tension. Fact 27. Your heart beats roughly 100,000 times every single day. Your heart is a tireless worker. Each day it contracts around 100,000 times. That's more than 35 million beats per year. Over an average lifetime, it beats more than 2.5 billion times. It never stops. It never pauses to rest. From the earliest moments in your mother's womb to your very final breath, your heart keeps working. Squeezing, filling, releasing, pumping blood through more than 60,000 miles of vessels inside you. It adjusts constantly to what you need. When you sleep, it slows down, giving you just enough circulation to stay alive. When you run or climb stairs, it speeds up, delivering extra oxygen to your muscles. When you feel fear or excitement, it flutters and races in response to your emotions. Even in silence, even in complete stillness, your heart is the pulse of your existence. It's a steady percussion beneath everything else, the rhythm that underlies every breath, every thought, every moment of your life. Fact 28. Your tongue has a unique print, just like your fingerprints. No two tongues in the world are exactly alike. The surface of your tongue has a distinct pattern of ridges, textures, bumps, and muscle shapes that belong only to you. It's like your fingerprints. Your tongue print is completely unique. While it's not commonly used for identification the way fingerprints are, researchers have explored its potential for security systems. Your tongue's appearance is shaped by your genetics, by how you developed before birth, and by your daily habits. The way you speak affects it. The way you chew changes it. The way you taste and swallow leaves its mark. Your tongue is an organ of incredible precision. It has fine control that allows you to form words clearly. It helps you eat safely by moving food around in your mouth. It gives you the sense of taste, detecting sweet, sour, salty, bitter, and savory flavors in exquisite detail. And quietly, invisibly, it carries your personal signature, a pattern that is entirely your own, hidden in plain sight every time you speak or smile. Fact 29. Every atom in your body heavier than hydrogen was created inside a star. The carbon in your cells, the oxygen you breathe, the calcium in your bones, the iron in your blood, all of these elements were forged in the heart of ancient stars billions of years ago. Stars create heavier elements through nuclear fusion. Deep in their cores, under unimaginable heat and pressure, hydrogen atoms fuse together to form helium. Helium fuses to form carbon. Carbon becomes oxygen. Oxygen becomes silicon, and so on, building heavier and heavier elements. When massive stars reach the end of their lives, they explode in brilliant supernovas. These explosions scatter all the elements they created out into space, seeding the universe with raw materials. Those materials eventually came together to form planets, oceans, soil, plants, animals, and you. The atoms that now make up your body once drifted in the cold emptiness between stars. They travelled for billions of years before finding their way into Earth's crust, then into food, then into you. You're not just made of matter. You're made of history, of time, of the long memory of the cosmos. Fact 30. There are more connections in your brain than there are stars in the Milky Way galaxy. Your brain contains approximately 86 billion neurons. Each one of those neurons can form thousands of connections with other neurons. In total, the number of these connections, called synapses, is estimated to be over 100 trillion. To put that in perspective, our entire Milky Way galaxy contains between 100 billion and 400 billion stars. Your brain has far more connections than that, far more pathways, far more complexity. These connections form the foundation of everything you are. Your memories live in these networks. Your ability to see, hear, and touch the world depends on them. Your emotions flow through them. Your thoughts travel along them like electricity through wire. And these connections are not fixed. They change constantly. They strengthen when you learn something new. They weaken when you forget. They reroute when you adapt to new situations. Your brain is not a static map. It's a living, shifting universe. Inside your head is a cosmos, vast and electric and infinitely complex. Fact 31. Your brain can create hallucinations without any input from the outside world. Even in complete darkness and total silence, your brain has the power to create vivid sensory experiences. It can generate sights, sounds, smells, even entire scenes, all without any actual information coming from your eyes or ears. These are called hallucinations, though they happen when neural circuits fire in the absence of real stimuli. This can occur during dreams, during sensory deprivation, or because of certain neurological conditions. What's remarkable is how real these illusions can feel. The same areas of your brain that process actual vision and hearing become active during hallucinations. In essence, your brain is so powerful that it can simulate reality all by itself. It doesn't need light, sound, or touch. It can create entire worlds from within, drawing on memory, imagination, and the deep architecture of perception. Your brain is both a receiver of the outside world and a projector of inner worlds. It can generate experiences that feel completely real, even when nothing outside you has changed at all. Fact 32. Goosebumps are a leftover response from when humans had much more body hair. When you feel cold or experience a strong emotion, tiny muscles at the base of each hair follicle contract. This causes your skin to dimple and your hairs to stand upright. We call this reaction goosebumps. This response once served a clear purpose for our ancient ancestors who had much thicker body hair. When the hairs stood up, they trapped a layer of warm air close to the skin, providing insulation against the cold. It also made them appear larger and more intimidating when they felt threatened or afraid. Today, with much less body hair covering our bodies, the effect is mostly useless. It doesn't keep us warm anymore. It doesn't make us look bigger. But the mechanism remains, still wired into your nervous system after millions of years. Goosebumps can be triggered by cold air, by fear, by awe, even by music that moves you emotionally. They're a physiological echo of an ancient survival instinct, a ghost of evolution's past still living in your skin. Fact 33. Your DNA unravels and rewraps itself millions of times every single day. Inside almost every cell in your body is a nucleus, and inside that nucleus are strands of DNA nearly 2 meters long. To fit into such a tiny space, this genetic material must be wound incredibly tightly into structures called chromosomes. But DNA is not static. It doesn't just sit there, coiled and waiting. Throughout the day, it constantly unspools and rewraps to allow genes to be read, copied, or repaired. In a single cell, this unwinding happens thousands of times. And when you consider that your body has trillions of cells, the total number of uncoilings reaches into the billions daily. Special enzymes work like molecular machines. Some unzip the double helix like opening a book. Others copy the genetic code. Still others repair broken strands or seal gaps. Your DNA is not a scroll written once and forgotten. It's a living library being read, edited, and maintained in real time, every moment of every day. Fact 34. Your bones constantly exchange old calcium for new calcium. Bone might look like dry, lifeless material, but it's very much alive and always changing. One of its most important jobs is managing calcium, a mineral essential for many functions in your body. Specialized cells called osteoclasts dissolve old bone tissue, releasing calcium into your bloodstream. At the same time, other cells called osteoblasts build new bone, storing calcium back into the structure. This constant exchange helps regulate the levels of calcium in your blood, which is critical for muscle contractions, nerve signals, and keeping your heartbeat regular. When your body needs calcium, your bones act as a reservoir, releasing it into circulation. When there's extra calcium available, your bones absorb and store it. Bone is more than just a frame for your body. It's a mineral bank, chemically adjusting every day, balancing the needs of your skeleton with the rhythms of your metabolism. Fact 30. You produce enough saliva each year to fill 2 bathtubs. Every time you swallow, speak, taste food, or even think about eating, your salivary glands spring into action. On average, they produce between 1 and 2 liters of saliva every single day. Over the course of a year, that adds up to enough liquid to fill 2 standard bathtubs. Saliva might seem like a simple fluid, but it does many important jobs. It starts the process of digesting starches before food even reaches your stomach. It protects your teeth from decay by washing away food particles and neutralizing acids. It lubricates your mouth and throat, making it easier to swallow. And it helps you taste by dissolving flavor compounds and carrying them to your taste buds. Saliva even contains enzymes and antibodies that fight off harmful microbes. Though it's easy to overlook, this clear, slippery substance is one of your body's quiet multitaskers, working day and night to protect, clean, and nourish you from the inside. Fact of 10. Your brain itself cannot feel pain, even though it processes all pain signals. The brain is the control center for every sensation of pain you experience anywhere in your body. And yet, strangely, the brain itself has no pain receptors. The tissue of the brain can be touched, cut, or stimulated without causing any pain at all. That's why surgeons can operate on the brain while a patient is fully awake. They can probe specific areas, ask the patient to speak or move, and the patient feels nothing in the brain itself. This helps doctors avoid damaging important regions that control language, movement, or memory. When you have a headache or feel pain from a head injury, that pain doesn't come from brain tissue. It comes from surrounding structures like the membranes covering the brain, the blood vessels, or the muscles and skin of your scalp. It's one of the great paradoxes of biology. The organ that allows you to feel pain everywhere else cannot feel pain within itself. It's a silent observer, processing sensation, but remaining numb to its own existence. Fact 37. Your gut has its own independent nervous system, sometimes called the second brain. Lining the walls of your digestive tract is an enormous network of more than 100 million neurons. This system is called the enteric nervous system, and it operates largely on its own, independent of your brain. It controls digestion, the release of digestive enzymes, and the rhythmic contractions that move food through your intestines. It can sense what's inside your gut and respond accordingly. It can trigger feelings like nausea or fullness, and it does all of this without needing constant instruction from your central nervous system. Scientists sometimes call it the second brain, not just because it works independently, but because it produces many of the same chemical messengers as your actual brain. Serotonin, for example, which influences mood, is produced in large quantities in your gut. There's a deep connection between your digestive system and your emotions. Your gut and brain communicate constantly through nerves and hormones, linking digestion with feelings in ways that science is only beginning to understand. Fact 38. Your sense of balance comes from tiny fluid-filled canals deep inside your ears. Hidden within your inner ear are 3 small curved tubes filled with liquid and lined with microscopic hair cells. These structures are part of your vestibular system, and they're responsible for your sense of balance and orientation. As you move your head, the fluid inside these canals shifts. This movement bends the tiny hair cells, which send signals to your brain about the direction and speed of your motion. Your brain uses this information, along with input from your eyes and muscles, to help you stay upright, walk without falling, and know where you are in space. When this system is disrupted, perhaps by illness or injury, it can cause dizziness or vertigo. The world seems to spin even when you're standing still, but when it works properly, it gives you a quiet, constant awareness of your position, even with your eyes closed. You always know which way is up. Fact 39. You breathe through only one nostril at a time, and they switch back and forth. It might feel like both of your nostrils are pulling in air equally, but the truth is different. Your body actually favours one nostril at a time. This alternation is called the nasal cycle, and it happens automatically every few hours. As one nostril becomes more open and draws in more air, the other slightly narrows due to changes in blood flow in the surrounding tissue. This shift helps regulate airflow, keeps the air properly humidified, and maximizes your ability to detect different smells. Some odours are better detected with slower airflow. Others require faster intake. By alternating nostrils, your brain can optimize smell sensitivity throughout the day. Your brain coordinates this quiet rhythm without any conscious awareness on your part. Even as you sleep, your nostrils take turns, a soft relay of breath switching sides in the darkness, optimizing function in the background of every single moment. Fact 40. The tiny hair cells in your inner ear help you detect the direction of sounds. Deep inside your cochlea, the spiral-shaped organ of your inner ear, there are thousands of microscopic hair cells. These aren't hairs like the ones on your head. They're delicate, flexible structures that respond to vibrations in the fluid surrounding them. Each hair cell is tuned to a specific frequency of sound, like a single key on a piano. When sound waves enter your ear, they travel as pressure waves that move the fluid in your cochlea. This movement bends the hair cells, and that bending is converted into electrical signals that your brain interprets as sound. But your brain does more than just hear. It also calculates where sounds are coming from. By comparing the tiny differences in timing and volume between your two ears, your brain can pinpoint the location of a voice, a footstep, or a distant noise with remarkable accuracy. Your hearing isn't just about volume, it's about space, direction, and the three-dimensional world around you. Fact 41. Some people can actually hear the movement of their own eyeballs. In a rare condition called superior canal dehiscence syndrome, a small opening forms in one of the bony canals of the inner ear. This gap causes sounds to be conducted in unusual ways, creating strange auditory experiences. People with this condition can hear their own heartbeat thumping in their ears. They can hear their footsteps echoing inside their head. They can hear the sound of their own eyes moving in their sockets, a faint mechanical scraping that most people never perceive. It happens because the gap in the bone creates an abnormal connection between the parts of the ear responsible for emotion and the parts responsible for hearing. While this can be disorienting and uncomfortable, it reveals just how finely tuned and sensitive the inner ear truly is. We are constantly surrounded by internal sounds, the rush of blood, the movement of joints, the shifting of organs. But in most people, the brain gently filters these noises away, allowing you to focus on the world outside instead of the constant hum within. Fact 42. The human ear can detect sounds ranging from 20 Hz to 20,000 Hz. Your ears are capable of perceiving an incredible range of sound frequencies. The lowest sounds you can detect, around 20 Hz, feel more like deep vibrations than actual tones. You might feel them in your chest as much as hear them. The highest sounds, near 20,000 Hz, are sharp and piercing, right at the edge of what you can perceive. This wide range allows you to enjoy the deep rumble of thunder, the low notes of a bass guitar, the warmth of a human voice, and the bright chirping of birds. With age, the upper limit of your hearing tends to decline. High-pitched sounds become harder to detect. But even as you lose some range, your ears still span nearly 10 musical octaves, far more than most animals can hear. The ear translates pressure waves traveling through the air into neural signals with incredible speed and precision. It's both a mechanical marvel and an acoustic window, opening your mind to the symphony of the world. Fact 43. Your eyes grow and change throughout your entire life. Though many people think the eyes stay the same size from birth, that's not true. At birth, an infant's eyes are roughly 2/3 the size of an adult's. They continue growing gradually throughout childhood, reaching near adult size during the teenage years. But even in adulthood, subtle changes continue. The lens inside your eye thickens with age. The muscles that control the shape of your lens weaken. The eyeball itself can shift slightly in shape, which is why many people develop difficulty seeing up close as they get older. These small changes affect how light is focused on your retina. They alter the clarity of your vision. The eye may look unchanging from the outside, but inside it's constantly evolving, adapting to the long arc of a lifetime, adjusting its focus with each passing year. Fact 4: your bones stop growing in length by your late 20s, but your face keeps changing. By the time you reach your late 20s, most of your bones have finished growing. Growth plates close and fuse, your height stabilizes, but certain parts of your body, especially your face, continue to shift and change. The bones of your skull undergo subtle remodeling throughout life. Your jaw can change shape, your nose can become more prominent. The sockets around your eyes may deepen. At the same time, the soft tissues of your face, including fat, muscle, and skin, gradually shift and lose volume. These changes are slow but steady. They reflect the passage of time, not just through aging skin, but through the quiet reshaping of the bone beneath. Your face at 50 looks different from your face at 20, not only because of wrinkles, but because the underlying structure itself has changed. Fact 45. Your liver performs over 500 separate tasks every single day. Your liver is one of the most hardworking organs in your entire body. Weighing about 3 pounds and tucked just under your ribs on the right side, it performs more than 500 distinct biochemical functions. It filters toxins from your blood, breaking down harmful substances you ingest or absorb. It produces bile, a fluid that helps digest fats. It stores vitamins and minerals like iron and vitamin A. It breaks down old red blood cells. It regulates blood sugar by storing and releasing glucose. It creates proteins that help your blood clot when you're injured. It metabolizes medications. It balances hormones. Unlike many organs that specialize in one or two jobs, your liver multitasks constantly. It's like a control center, humming with silent activity, managing dozens of processes at once. It's tireless, adaptable, and uniquely able to regenerate itself when damaged. Without your liver, life would be impossible. With it, complexity becomes manageable, and chemistry flows seamlessly. Fact 46. Red blood cells carry oxygen but contain no nucleus. Unlike most cells in your body, mature red blood cells are missing something fundamental. They have no nucleus, no control center, no genetic material to guide them. This absence is intentional. By losing their nucleus during development, red blood cells make room for more hemoglobin, the iron-rich protein that binds to oxygen. This allows them to carry far more oxygen than they could if they still had a nucleus. It also gives them their distinctive biconcave shape, like a disc pinched in the middle. This shape maximizes surface area and makes them flexible enough to squeeze through capillaries thinner than a human hair. But this design comes at a cost. Without a nucleus, red blood cells cannot repair themselves or divide to create new cells. They have a limited lifespan. After about 120 days, they wear out and are removed from circulation, replaced by fresh cells born in your bone marrow. Each red blood cell is a single-use courier of breath, carrying oxygen from your lungs to every tissue in your body before being recycled and replaced. Fact 47, your body contains enough fat to make roughly 7 bars of soap. Fat plays many essential roles in your body. It stores energy for times when food is scarce. It insulates you from cold. It cushions your organs, protecting them from impacts. It produces hormones that regulate appetite, inflammation, and reproduction. But here's an odd fact. If your body fat were rendered down and processed using traditional soap-making techniques, the average adult would have enough to create about 7 full-size bars of soap. This comparison comes from the old process of making soap, which involved mixing animal fat with a substance called lye. Of course, your fat is far more than raw material. It's metabolically active tissue that communicates with other systems in your body. Its distribution and function vary based on genetics, lifestyle, diet, and age. Though often misunderstood or criticized, fat is essential. Without it, your body cannot regulate temperature, produce hormones, or store the energy needed to survive. Fact 48. A single strand of human hair can hold about 100 grams of weight. Though hair looks delicate and thin, each individual strand is surprisingly strong. A single human hair can support up to 100 grams of weight without breaking. That's roughly the weight of a small apple. This strength comes from hair's internal structure. It's made of tightly coiled keratin proteins, bonded together in dense, overlapping layers. When you combine all the hairs on an entire scalp, the total strength is astonishing. A full head of hair could theoretically support the weight of 2 average-sized adults. Beyond strength, hair is also remarkably elastic. When wet, it can stretch up to 30% of its original length and return to normal without damage. So while each strand might seem fragile on its own, together they form one of nature's most efficient fiber systems. Light, flexible, resilient, and quietly powerful. Fact 49. The longest muscle in your body runs from your hip all the way to your knee. Running diagonally across your thigh is a long, slender muscle called the sartorius. It's the longest muscle in the entire human body. It starts at the outer edge of your hip bone, curves across the front of your thigh, and ends near the inside of your knee. This muscle assists in several different movements. It helps you flex your hip, bend your knee, and rotate your leg outward. It's what allows you to cross your legs or pivot your foot to the side. Though it's not especially thick or powerful compared to other thigh muscles, it plays a graceful, important role in everyday motion. Its length and positioning are a reminder of the body's architectural elegance. Long flowing lines engineered for movement, balance, and subtle control. Your body is built with precision, every muscle shaped for a purpose. Fact 50. You use more than 30 muscles just to create a simple smile. A smile might seem like the simplest gesture, a small movement of your mouth, but it's actually powered by a complex orchestra of muscles. More than 30 individual muscles work together to lift the corners of your mouth, crease the skin around your eyes, raise your cheeks, and adjust your jaw. Even the slightest variation in how you smile involves different combinations of muscles. A genuine smile of happiness activates muscles around the eyes that a forced smile does not. The brain's emotional centers are wired directly to these facial muscles, which is why truly happy smiles are so hard to fake. Some of these muscles are under your conscious control. You can decide to smile. But others are involuntary, activated automatically when you feel joy. Every smile is a delicate performance blending mechanics with emotion, revealing something deeply human. A moment where your inner feelings become visible on your face for the world to see. Fact 51. Some of your blood vessels are so narrow that red blood cells must squeeze through one at a time. Your circulatory system is vast, stretching over 60,000 miles throughout your body, but some of its most important passages are also the tiniest. Capillaries, the smallest blood vessels, are so incredibly narrow that red blood cells must pass through them in single file, often bending and deforming just to fit. These vessels connect your arteries to your veins, forming the bridge where actual exchange happens. Oxygen and nutrients pass through capillary walls into surrounding tissues. Waste products and carbon dioxide move back into the blood to be carried away. The walls of capillaries are just one cell thick, making this transfer quick and efficient. At this microscopic scale, blood doesn't rush in broad streams. It trickles slowly, precisely, intimately. Life is sustained not by the great pulses of your heart alone, but by these silent single-file exchanges happening deep within your tissues. Every cell in your body depends on these tiny vessels to bring what it needs and remove what it doesn't. Fact 52. The brain uses no pain receptors, but the tissue surrounding it is extremely sensitive. Your brain processes every sensation of pain throughout your entire body. It interprets signals from stubbed toes, burned fingers, and aching backs. Yet remarkably, the brain tissue itself has no nociceptors, the specialized nerve endings that detect pain. That's why neurosurgeons can perform operations on the brain with patients fully conscious. They can touch, stimulate, and even remove small portions of brain tissue without causing direct discomfort. Patients can talk, answer questions, and move their limbs while their brain is being operated on. However, the tissues surrounding the brain tell a different story. The meninges, which are the protective membranes covering the brain, contain abundant pain receptors. So do the scalp, skull bones, and blood vessels in the head. When you experience a headache or head trauma, the pain originates from these structures, not the brain itself. The paradox is striking. The organ responsible for all feeling remains insensate to its own condition, processing pain signals from everywhere else while existing in a state of permanent numbness. Fact 53. There are approximately 37 trillion cells in the human body. The human body is a vast mosaic of living cells. Current estimates suggest there are around 37 trillion cells in total. These cells come in more than 200 distinct types, each specialized for different roles and functions. Skin cells create protective barriers. Neurons transmit electrical signals. Blood cells transport oxygen. Muscle cells generate force. Fat cells store energy. Each type has a unique shape, lifespan, and purpose. And despite their differences, every single cell contains the complete human genome, a full blueprint of your genetic code, but each cell only activates the specific genes it needs for its particular job. A liver cell uses different genes than a brain cell, even though both contain identical DNA. Cells live, divide, work, and die in patterns measured in hours, days, or years. They form a self-organizing society, coordinating without central command to build muscles, bones, organs, and consciousness itself. Every moment, countless cells are working in unity beneath the surface of your skin, an invisible population keeping you alive through cooperation, communication, and constant renewal. Fact 54. Every cell in your body contains about 2 meters of DNA. Inside the nucleus of almost every human cell lies a tightly packed strand of DNA. If you could uncoil this genetic material completely and stretch it out in a straight line, it would measure roughly 2 meters long. That's about 6.5 feet. This double helix carries all your genetic instructions, the code that determines your eye color, your height, your susceptibility to certain diseases, and countless other traits. But to fit inside a space just 6 microns wide, smaller than a speck of dust, the DNA must be folded with extraordinary precision. It wraps around proteins called histones, forming coils within coils, like thread wound onto microscopic spools. If you could take the DNA from all 37 trillion cells in your body and line it up end to end, it would stretch from Earth to the Sun and back hundreds of times. Yet inside your body it stays hidden and compact, quietly orchestrating the production of proteins, guiding your development, and recording the molecular memory of life itself. Your genetic code is not just information, it's architecture folded into impossibly small spaces. Fact 55. Your bones contain living tissue and stem cells deep within their structure. Though bones might seem like lifeless scaffolding, they are actually vibrant living organs. Beneath their hard outer shell lies a soft, spongy interior filled with bone marrow. a rich and dynamic tissue where blood cells are born. This marrow houses hematopoietic stem cells, remarkable cells capable of transforming into red blood cells, white blood cells, or platelets. It's essentially a factory for your circulatory and immune systems. Bones are also home to osteoblasts and osteoclasts, the cells that constantly rebuild and reshape your skeletal framework. Blood vessels thread through bone, nourishing it from within. Nerves run through it as well, which is why broken bones hurt so much. Even the dense outer layers are alive, responding to mechanical stress, hormonal signals, and nutritional changes. Your bones are not static structures made of dead calcium. They pulse with life from the inside out. They breathe, heal, adapt, and communicate with the rest of your body in ways that science is still working to fully understand. Fact 56. Your gut bacteria outnumber your human cells and together weigh about 3 pounds. Inside your digestive tract lives an entire ecosystem of microorganisms, trillions of bacteria, fungi, and viruses that collectively outnumber all of your human cells. This community is known as the gut microbiome, weighs approximately 3 pounds, roughly the same as your brain. These microbes perform essential services. They help break down complex foods that your body can't digest on its own. They produce vitamins like B12 and K that you need but cannot manufacture yourself. They regulate inflammation and train your immune system to distinguish between harmless substances and genuine threats. Your microbiome is shaped by many factors: where you were born, how you were delivered, whether you were breastfed, what you eat, where you live, even the medications you take. It becomes as unique to you as a fingerprint, a microbial signature that no one else shares. Scientists now view the microbiome as a vital organ in its own right, one that lives inside you but is not entirely you. It's a partnership between human and microbial life working together in the most intimate way imaginable. Fact 57. More than half of the cells in your body are not human. If you count cells rather than measure by weight or mass, only about 43% of the cells in your body actually carry human DNA. The rest belong to bacteria, archaea, fungi, and viruses that live on your skin, in your mouth, throughout your digestive system, and even inside your lungs. These microorganisms are not invaders or parasites. Most of them are symbiotic partners. They help digest food, synthesize nutrients, protect against harmful pathogens, and maintain the health of tissues they inhabit. Many have co-evolved with humans over millions of years. Some cannot survive without you, and you cannot thrive without them. You're not a single organism in the traditional sense. You're a composite being, a biological partnership between human cells and microbial cells, living together in one interconnected form. The boundaries of what makes you you are far more complex than they appear. You're a walking ecosystem, a living collaboration. Fact 58. Your body generates about 330 billion new cells every single day. Each day, your body replaces roughly 330 billion cells. That's nearly 1% of all the cells you have. Some of these are red blood cells, which have short lifespans and must be renewed constantly to keep oxygen flowing through your bloodstream. Others are skin cells, continuously migrating upward to replace the surface layer you shed. Still others are cells lining your gut, which face constant wear from digesting food and must be replaced frequently. Immune cells patrolling for infections also have short lifespans and need regular replenishment. Most of this renewal happens without any sensation or conscious awareness. Damaged cells are identified, dismantled, and recycled. Stem cells divide and differentiate, transforming into the specific cell types needed in different locations. You are, in a very literal sense, constantly being rebuilt. The body you inhabit tonight is not exactly the same body you woke up in this morning. You're not fixed in time. You flow through it, cell by cell, through an endless river of renewal and regeneration. Fact 59. Muscles have cellular memory that lasts for months after you stop exercising. Even after long periods of inactivity, your muscles retain a kind of memory at the cellular level. When you exercise regularly, your muscle cells don't just grow larger and stronger, they also increase the number of nuclei they contain. These extra nuclei help manage the increased size and activity of the muscle. Here's what's remarkable. When you stop working out and your muscles shrink from lack of use, those extra nuclei don't disappear. They remain dormant inside the muscle fibers. When you eventually resume training, those nuclei help the muscle rebuild faster than it did the first time. This is why people who were once fit can regain strength more quickly than complete beginners. The memory isn't stored in your brain, it's embedded directly in the cells themselves. Your muscles remember the work you've done. They remember the effort, the strain, the growth. And given the chance, they remember how to come back. Fact 60. Hair and nails don't continue growing after death, the skin just shrinks back. There's a persistent myth that hair and nails keep growing after someone dies. But this isn't true. The appearance of growth is actually an optical illusion caused by dehydration and tissue changes. Hair and nail growth require active metabolism. Cells at the base of hair follicles and nail beds must divide and push upward, processes that need energy, nutrients, and functioning biological systems. Once the heart stops beating and cells begin dying, these processes shut down completely. What actually happens is that the skin loses moisture and begins to retract. As it pulls back, it exposes more of the hair shaft and nail that were previously hidden beneath the surface. This makes it look like they've grown longer, but in reality, they haven't changed at all. The body isn't continuing to grow after death. It's simply changing shape as fluids evaporate and tissues contract. The truth is more about physics and decomposition than biology or vitality. Factor 61. White blood cells navigate toward infections using chemical signals like an internal GPS. When your body detects an infection or injury, white blood cells don't just drift randomly through your bloodstream, hoping to stumble upon the problem. They navigate with purpose and precision, following chemical breadcrumbs released by damaged tissues and invading microbes. This process is called chemotaxis, and it functions like an internal GPS system. Molecules released at the site of trouble create a concentration gradient. White blood cells have receptors on their surface that detect these chemicals. They sense which direction has higher concentrations and move toward it. Once they arrive at the infection site, they spring into action. Some engulf and destroy bacteria. Others release enzymes to break down pathogens. Still others summon reinforcements by releasing their own chemical signals. This all happens silently and invisibly, every hour of every day. Your immune system isn't just reactive. It's intelligent, directional, and constantly scanning the internal map of your body for signs of danger, responding with speed and accuracy. Fact. You have small muscles that once helped our ancestors move their ears. Beneath your skin, near your ears, lie tiny muscles called auricular muscles. In many mammals like dogs, cats, and horses, these muscles allow the ears to swivel and rotate independently, helping them pinpoint the direction of sounds. Humans still have these muscles, and some people can even use them to wiggle their ears slightly. But for most of us, they lie dormant and unused. They're evolutionary relics from a time when mobile ears offered a survival advantage, helping our distant ancestors locate predators or prey by sound alone. Over millions of years, as humans developed better ways to turn their heads and rely more on vision, these muscles lost their importance. But they never disappeared. They remain wired into your anatomy, a quiet biological souvenir reminding you of the ancient heritage you carry. Evolution doesn't erase everything. It leaves traces, echoes of what once was, hidden in the architecture of your body. Fact 63. Your taste buds are completely replaced every 10 to 14 days. Your ability to taste sweet, salty, sour, bitter, and savory flavors depends on tiny clusters of sensory cells called taste buds. Most of them live on your tongue, though some are found on the roof of your mouth and in your throat. But these cells don't last long. Constantly exposed to heat, chemicals, friction, and the harsh environment of your mouth, they wear out quickly. Every 10 to 14 days, they're completely replaced by new cells. New taste receptor cells grow from stem cells at the base of each taste bud and gradually migrate upward, taking over the job of detecting flavors. This constant regeneration ensures your sense of taste stays sharp, even after eating spicy food, drinking hot beverages, or accidentally biting your tongue. The meal you're tasting today is being perceived by completely different cells than the one you ate 2 weeks ago. It's a cycle of renewal that makes eating a continuously fresh experience mediated by cells that are always young. Fact 64. Your fingertips have more nerve endings than almost any other part of your body. Your fingertips are among the most sensitive areas you possess. Beneath the skin, thousands of specialized nerve endings are densely packed together, each one responding to different types of stimuli like pressure, texture, vibration, temperature, and pain. These nerves are so finely tuned that they can detect textures smaller than a micron. They can distinguish between surfaces by feeling a single grain of sand. They can sense the slightest breeze brushing against your skin. This incredible sensitivity allows you to read Braille, thread a needle, play a musical instrument, or type on a keyboard with precision. The brain dedicates an unusually large portion of its sensory processing area to your fingers, giving them priority over much larger body parts. When you reach out to touch the world, your fingertips don't just make contact. They perceive, interpret, and translate physical sensations into neural signals that your brain understands. Touch becomes thought. Surface becomes meaning. Fact. Your body has a backup systems for controlling your heartbeat in case the primary one fails. Your heartbeat is normally regulated by a natural pacemaker called the sinoatrial node, a small cluster of cells in the right atrium of your heart. These cells generate electrical impulses automatically, triggering each beat and keeping your rhythm steady. But what happens if this system malfunctions? Your body has backup pacemakers waiting in reserve. Another cluster called the atrioventricular node can take over, though it generates a slower rhythm. If that fails too, specialized fibers deeper in the heart can step in as a last resort. This built-in redundancy helps protect you from sudden cardiac failure. Your heartbeat isn't controlled by willpower or conscious thought. It's managed by a hierarchy of biological timing systems, each one waiting silently in line, ready to take over if needed. Your heart's rhythm is not just automatic, it's protected by design, with contingency plans layered beneath contingency plans, ensuring that the pulse of life continues. Fact 66. Your skin is the largest organ in your body, covering about 20 square feet. Your skin is not just a thin covering, it's the body's largest organ, weighing around 8 pounds in adults and covering approximately 20 square feet of surface area. It forms a complete barrier between your internal systems and the outside world. Skin has multiple layers. The outermost epidermis constantly sheds and renews itself. The middle dermis contains blood vessels, nerve endings, sweat glands, and hair follicles. The deepest layer, the hypodermis, provides insulation and cushioning. This organ shields you from bacteria and viruses. It regulates your temperature through sweating and blood flow changes. It detects sensations like touch, pain, and temperature. It even produces vitamin D when exposed to sunlight. Skin regenerates constantly, replacing itself roughly once a month. Though often taken for granted, it's your first line of defense, your thermal regulator, and your primary interface with everything outside yourself. Always sensing, always protecting, always adapting. Fact 67. You lose nearly a litre of water daily just from breathing and evaporation through your skin. Even when you're not sweating visibly, your body is constantly losing water through processes you can't see or feel. This is called insensible water loss, and it happens in two main ways. First, every breath you exhale carries moisture from your lungs into the air. Second, water continuously evaporates through your skin, even when it appears completely dry. Together, these processes can account for nearly a litre of water loss each day. More if the air is hot, dry, or if you're physically active. You don't notice it happening. There's no sensation of wetness or thirst necessarily ici, but it's always occurring, a silent exchange between your body and the environment. That's why staying hydrated is important, even when you don't feel like you're losing fluids. Your body is gently evaporating into the air around you, molecule by molecule, as natural as the rise and fall of your breath. Fact 68. Your body contains trace amounts of gold scattered throughout your bloodstream. Inside your body, dissolved in your blood and distributed through your tissues, are tiny amounts of elemental gold, roughly 0.2 milligrams in total. It's not much, certainly not enough to extract or make jewelry from, but it's there. This gold isn't decorative. It may play subtle roles in joint health and enzyme function, though scientists are still studying exactly what it does. Gold atoms are often bound within larger molecules or proteins, traveling through your bloodstream alongside other trace metals like zinc, copper, and iron. These elements didn't originate on Earth. They were created in the hearts of dying stars billions of years ago and scattered across space during supernova explosions. Eventually, they became part of the planets, the soil, the water, and finally you. The gold inside you is a quiet reminder that your body is built from the dust of ancient stars. Precious, rare, cosmic, and universal. Fact 69. Your bones are hollow but incredibly strong because of their internal structure. Many of your bones, especially the long ones in your arms and legs, are not solid throughout. They're hollow in the center, filled with bone marrow rather than dense tissue. This might sound like a weakness, but it's actually a brilliant design. Hollow bones are much lighter than solid ones, making movement more efficient and reducing the energy needed to walk, run, or lift your arms. But they don't sacrifice strength. The outer layer, called compact bone, is incredibly dense and hard. Inside, a network of trabecular bone forms a lattice-like structure that distributes stress evenly. This combination of strength and lightness is so effective that engineers study bone architecture when designing buildings, bridges, and aircraft. Your skeleton isn't just strong enough to support you. It's optimized for both durability and efficiency, shaped by millions of years of evolutionary refinement. Fact 70. Each of your kidneys contains around 1 million tiny filters. Your kidneys are small organs, each about the size of your fist. But inside them are roughly 1 million microscopic filtration units called nephrons. Each nephron works like a miniature processing plant. Blood enters the kidney through arteries and passes through these nephrons. They filter out waste products, excess salts, and surplus water while keeping essential substances like proteins and blood cells in circulation. The filtered waste becomes urine, which travels to your bladder. Meanwhile, cleaned blood returns to circulation. Every day your kidneys filter around 50 gallons of blood, refining it with extraordinary precision. Despite their modest size, these organs are among the most efficient processes in your entire body, working silently and continuously to maintain the delicate chemical balance that keeps you alive. Drop by drop, minute by minute, they purify your internal environment, ensuring that everything stays in harmony. Fact 71. Your brain uses up to 20% of your body's total energy despite being only 2% of your weight. Your brain is relatively small, weighing about 3 pounds and making up only 2% of your total body weight. Yet it consumes a disproportionate amount of energy, using up to 20% of all the calories and oxygen you take in. This energy powers the constant electrical activity of billions of neurons. It maintains the chemical gradients that allow signals to travel. It supports the formation and storage of memories. It manages the complex computations underlying thought, perception, emotion, and consciousness. Even when you're resting, when you're not thinking about anything in particular, your brain remains metabolically active. It requires a steady supply of glucose and oxygen delivered by an extensive network of blood vessels. If that supply is interrupted even briefly, brain function falters rapidly. The mind may feel light, effortless, almost weightless. But behind every moment of awareness is a substantial current of power, feeding the inner fire that makes thought possible. Fact 72. A developing fetus can heal wounds without leaving any scars. During early stages of development in the womb, human fetuses have a remarkable ability that adults lack. When their skin is injured, it can heal completely without forming scar tissue. The wound closes seamlessly, restoring the tissue to its original state. This ability exists because fetal skin has a different cellular makeup and a different immune response compared to adult skin. The collagen fibers arrange themselves in organized patterns instead of the random tangled networks that form scars. Inflammation, which contributes to scarring in adults, is minimal in the womb. Scientists study fetal wound healing, hoping to understand how to replicate it in grown humans. Imagine a future where injuries could be healed perfectly, invisibly, with no permanent marks left behind. It's a glimpse of hidden biological potential, not just the ability to repair damage, but to restore tissues perfectly as if the injury never happened at all. Fact 73. Your tears have different chemical compositions depending on why you're crying. Not all tears are identical. Your body produces 3 distinct types, each with its own chemical makeup and purpose. Basal tears keep your eyes continuously moist and protected. Reflex tears wash away irritants like dust, smoke, or onion fumes. Emotional tears flow in response to feelings like sadness, joy, or frustration. Emotional tears contain higher concentrations of stress hormones and natural pain-relieving compounds. This suggests a biological link between crying and emotional regulation. The act of shedding tears may actually help reduce stress and restore emotional balance. While tears might appear to be simple salt water, there are actually complex fluids with layered compositions. Each type carries different proteins, enzymes, and chemicals. In every drop is a story written in molecules, reflecting both your physical state and your inner emotional landscape. Factor 74. The autonomous heart, life's silent metronome. Long before your eyes open, before you ever think or speak, a single rhythm begins deep inside you. It does not ask permission. It does not wait for the brain's command. It simply begins, steady, pulsing, alive. This is the heart, your body's eternal drummer, the faithful keeper of time. Inside its walls lies something extraordinary. A tiny cluster of cells called the sinoatrial node, resting quietly in the right atrium. But these cells are unlike any others. They do not need instructions. They generate electricity all by themselves. They create pulses of energy that travel across the heart, making muscles contract in perfect synchrony, one beat after another, like the ticking of a clock set by nature itself. This is automaticity, the miraculous power of the heart to beat independently, free from the brain's command. Even if the spinal cord were severed, even if every nerve fell silent, the heart would go on. And if you were to lift it gently from the body, placing it in a warm bath of oxygenated fluid, it would still beat, slowly, faithfully, as though refusing to forget what it was born to do. It is not mind that keeps you alive, it is rhythm. A rhythm that began before consciousness, before memory, and continues through every joy and sorrow, through every breath and every sleep. When that rhythm falters, when chaos floods the signal, doctors reach for the defibrillator. With one sharp jolt, they don't start the heart, they reset it. In that silence after the shock, the heart remembers itself and begins again, guided by its own pacemaker, by the same code that has beaten since your first moment in the womb. Your heartbeat is not merely a sound, it's a story, an ancient pulse echoing across generations. Every thump you feel is a whisper from life itself. I am here. I will not stop. I know the way. Your heart is not commanded. It is conscious in its own language. A sovereign rhythm woven into the fabric of being. Fact. 75. Pour so po, the tale. We once wore, echoes of an ancient self. In the secret darkness of the womb, when your body is still assembling its shape, you carry something strange, something you will soon lose, a tale. Around the 4th week of embryonic life, as the spine extends, a small tail-like projection grows beyond the developing body. It contains 10 to 12 vertebrae, more than the adult coccyx, and curves softly, a silent signature from your evolutionary ancestors. For a brief fleeting moment, you're connected to a world long gone, a world where creatures leapt from branch to branch, balanced on tree limbs, swam through rivers, used their tails for motion, defense, and grace. You're not separate from them, you are their continuation. The code of their bodies still writes your own. But as the weeks pass, your form begins to refine. The tail shortens, cells fold inward. The vertebrae fuse and settle at the base of your spine, forming the coccyx, the small triangular bone you'll carry for the rest of your life, a silent relic of an age when tails were essential. In extremely rare cases, a child is born with a small, flexible tail-like appendage, harmless, soft, and easily removed. Yet even these rare births speak volumes, evolution remembers. It doesn't erase the past, it transforms it. The human body is a story written across time, each stage of embryonic development a chapter that revisits ancient forms before moving on. For a moment, you wear your ancestry openly, then you let it fade, leaving behind only a trace. We are all, in some way, walking fossils, carrying the whispers of fins, gills, tails, and wings we no longer need. Your coccyx is a monument to that truth, a quiet echo from the deep timeline of life saying, "You were not born alone, you were shaped by millions before you." In every heartbeat, in every bone, the past still hums, and your vanishing tale is one of its clearest songs. Fact. half a brain, whole humanity, the miracle of neuroplasticity. What makes you you? Your memories, your language, your sense of self. All of it arises from the 3-pound organ inside your skull, the brain, an ocean of connections, billions of neurons dancing in patterns so intricate we've barely begun to understand them. So what happens when half of that ocean is gone? In rare, desperate moments, when violent storms of epilepsy strike without mercy, when no drug or therapy can silence the seizures, doctors turn to a radical solution, a hemispherectomy. They remove or disconnect an entire half of the brain, a left or right, an act that sounds unthinkable, almost cruel. And yet, what happens next is one of the most beautiful proofs of life's adaptability. Especially in children, the remaining hemisphere begins to rebuild. Neurons rewire, shifting tasks, forming new networks. Regions once devoted to sight learn to handle language. Areas once responsible for motion adapt to memory. The brain, fluid, creative, alive, reshapes itself to heal. This is neuroplasticity, the astonishing capacity of the brain to transform, to adapt to injury, to rewrite its own architecture in response to loss. Even in adults, though less dramatically, this power remains. After stroke or trauma, the brain sends out new pathways, searching for routes to restore function. Like a city rerouting traffic after an earthquake, it builds new bridges, new roads, new possibilities. A person with half a brain can still speak, walk, love, dream. They may face as challenges, yes, but they also embody something profound that the human spirit, expressed through biology, refuses to give up. You're not a static machine, you're a living, evolving system. Even when half is gone, the whole finds a way to rise, half a brain, yet fully human, half the map, yet still finding the way home. Fact 74, your heart has its own electrical system and can beat even outside the body. Your heart doesn't rely on commands from your brain to beat. It contains its own built-in electrical system, centered around the sinoatrial node, which generates rhythmic impulses automatically. This property is called automaticity. If a heart were removed from the body and supplied with oxygen and nutrients, it would continue beating on its own for a period of time. It doesn't need nerve signals from the spine or brain. The rhythm originates from within the heart muscle itself. In emergency medicine, defibrillators work by resetting this internal rhythm when it becomes chaotic or irregular. The shock allows the heart's natural pacemaker to regain control and restore normal beating. Your heartbeat is not just muscular contraction, it's electrical signal, biological rhythm, and independent pulse, echoing in time without ever needing an external instruction about when to begin or continue. Fact 75. Every human embryo temporarily develops a tail during early growth. During the early weeks of development, every human embryo grows a small tail-like structure. Around 4 to 5 weeks after conception, this tail extends beyond the rest of the developing body and contains multiple vertebrae. This structure reflects our shared evolutionary ancestry with other vertebrates. It's a remnant from the distant past when our ancestors had functional tails, but as the embryo continues developing, this tail gradually shrinks and is reabsorbed into the body, leaving behind only the coccyx, commonly known as the tailbone. In extremely rare cases, babies are born with small tail-like appendages. These are usually harmless and can be removed surgically, but they're a fascinating reminder of our biological history. Though hidden in adulthood, this temporary tail is a fleeting glimpse of deep evolutionary memory, an echo from millions of years ago, when tails were not symbolic vestiges, but essential tools for balance and movement. Fact 76. You can survive and function with only half of your brain in certain cases. In rare medical situations, such as severe epilepsy that doesn't respond to medication, surgeons may perform a procedure called hemispherectomy. This involves removing or disconnecting an entire hemisphere of the brain. Remarkably, especially in young patients, the remaining half can adapt and compensate for many of the lost functions. Speech can return, movement can be relearned, memory can be preserved. The brain demonstrates incredible plasticity, its ability to reorganize and rewire itself in response to dramatic changes. This adaptability is most pronounced in children whose brains are still developing. But even adult brains show some capacity for this kind of compensation. The brain is not rigidly programmed like a computer. It's fluid, flexible, and capable of extraordinary reorganization. Half a brain might sound like a devastating loss, but in some cases, it becomes the pathway to healing, revealing just how remarkably adaptive human consciousness truly is. Fact 77. Some people experience synesthesia, where senses blend together in unique ways. For certain individuals, the senses don't operate separately. They overlap and intertwine in fascinating ways. This neurological phenomenon is called synesthesia, and it creates experiences where one sense automatically triggers another. A sound might produce a vivid burst of colour in their vision. A letter of the alphabet might have an inherent texture or temperature. A musical note might carry the distinct taste of chocolate or mint. These cross-sensory experiences are involuntary, automatic, and remarkably consistent. The same stimulus always produces the same secondary sensation. Scientists believe synesthesia involves increased connectivity between different sensory regions of the brain. It's not a disorder or malfunction, it's simply a different way of processing sensory information, a variation in how the brain is wired. For those who experience it, life becomes enriched with unexpected layers. The world reveals textures, flavors, and colors that others never perceive. The mind becomes a prism, transforming simple inputs into a spectrum of interconnected sensations. Fact 78. Bone marrow is where all your red blood cells originate. Deep inside certain bones, particularly in your pelvis, ribs, and the long bones of your legs, lies soft, spongy tissue called bone marrow. This hidden factory is where all the red blood cells in your body are born. Bone marrow contains hematopoietic stem cells, which are the origin point for all blood cells. These stem cells divide and differentiate, transforming into mature red blood cells that enter your bloodstream and begin carrying oxygen to your tissues. The production rate is astonishing. Millions of new red blood cells are created every single second, replacing old ones that have worn out. Marrow also produces white blood cells that fight infections and platelets that help your blood clot when you're injured. Without bone marrow, your blood could not replenish itself. Your immune system would collapse, your tissues would be starved of oxygen, life would be impossible. This hidden tissue, tucked inside your skeleton, is absolutely essential to your survival. Fact 79. Your liver can neutralize almost any natural toxin up to a certain limit. Your liver is a master chemist, capable of breaking down and neutralizing an enormous variety of toxic substances. When you consume something potentially harmful, whether it's alcohol, plant toxins, environmental pollutants, or metabolic waste products, your liver goes to work. It uses hundreds of specialized enzymes to transform these dangerous compounds. It converts fat-soluble toxins into water-soluble forms that can be eliminated through urine or bile. This detoxification process happens continuously, silently protecting you from daily exposures you might not even be aware of. But the liver does have limits. If overwhelmed by too much toxin too quickly, or exposed repeatedly over time, its enzymes can become saturated. Cells can become damaged. Function can decline. Still, its capacity under normal circumstances is remarkable. Every day your liver filters more than a litre of blood per minute, acting as both chemical barrier and protective shield. A silent guardian managing your internal chemistry with precision and tireless dedication. Fact 80. Your vocal cords vibrate faster than a hummingbird flaps its wings. When you speak, sing, or even whisper, your vocal cords, which are actually small folds of tissue in your larynx, vibrate at incredible speeds. During normal conversation, they oscillate around 100 to 200 times per second. When you sing, especially at higher pitches, that frequency can exceed 1,000 vibrations per second. By comparison, a hummingbird typically flaps its wings only 50 to 80 times per second. Your voice is produced by motion faster than one of nature's quickest creatures. These vibrations are shaped by many factors. The tension in your vocal cords determines pitch. The force of air from your lungs controls volume. The shape of your throat, mouth, and nasal passages adds resonance and character. Subtle shifts in muscle tension alter tone and texture. Though your vocal cords are tiny and hidden from view, they're among the fastest moving muscles in your entire body, transforming breath into language with astonishing speed and precision. Fact 81. Your brain contains between 86 and 100 billion neurons. The human brain is composed of an estimated 86 to 100 billion neurons. Each one is a specialized cell designed to send and receive electrical signals across tiny gaps called synapses. These neurons vary enormously in shape, size, and function. Some gather sensory information from your eyes, ears, and skin. Others send commands to your muscles, telling them when and how to move. Many exist solely to connect different parts of the brain to each other, forming networks of communication. This vast web of interaction is never static or fixed. New pathways form as you learn new skills. Unused connections gradually fade away. Synapses strengthen or weaken based on how often they're used. The brain is constantly reorganizing itself to sculpting its own architecture in response to experience. Your brain is not just a container for thoughts, it's a living constellation, with each neuron a flickering point of light in the vast electric architecture of consciousness. Fact 82. Your brain can rewire and reorganize itself in response to injury or learning. One of the most remarkable properties of the human brain is neuroplasticity, its ability to change structure and function throughout life. When part of the brain is damaged by stroke, trauma, or disease, other regions can often compensate by forming new neural pathways. This adaptation is strongest in childhood, when the brain is still developing rapidly. But it continues throughout your entire life. Every time you learn a new language, pick up a musical instrument, or master a complex skill, your brain physically changes. Neurons form new connections, existing pathways strengthen. Entire regions can expand or shrink based on use. Rehabilitation therapies leverage this plasticity to help people recover lost abilities. Through repetition and focused practice, the brain can learn to bypass damaged areas and restore function. The brain is not a fixed machine. It's elastic, adaptive, continuously reorganizing itself to meet whatever challenges life presents. Fact 83. Your brain can simulate sensory experiences using only thought and memory. Close your eyes and imagine standing on a beach. You can picture the waves, hear their rhythmic crashing, feel the warmth of sunlight on your skin, smell the salt in the air. This isn't just abstract thinking, your brain is actively simulating sensory experience. Functional brain imaging shows that visualizing a scene activates many of the same neural regions as actually seeing it. Imagining music engages auditory processing areas. Mental rehearsal of physical movements activates motor cortex regions involved in actual movement. Athletes use this phenomenon to improve performance, mentally practicing techniques and routines. Musicians rehearse silently in their minds and still develop skill. Your imagination overlaps significantly with perception, often using identical neural hardware. In your mind, you can create entire worlds, complete with sights, sounds, and sensations, and your brain responds to these imagined experiences almost as if they were real, blurring the boundary between inner and outer reality. Fact 84. You have brain cells that respond only to specific visual features like horizontal or vertical lines. Within your visual cortex, located at the back of your brain, are highly specialized neurons. Some respond exclusively to horizontal lines, others activate only for vertical edges. Still others detect diagonal orientations at specific angles. These orientation-specific cells were first discovered through experiments with animals, but the same principles apply to human vision. When light enters your eyes and reaches your retina, it's converted into electrical signals. These signals travel to the visual cortex, where these specialized neurons begin constructing a basic map of what you're seeing. They detect edges, contrast, and movement. From these simple building blocks, your brain assembles complex images. You don't simply see objects whole and complete, you construct them from fragments, from lines and curves and shadows, piece by piece in the hidden theater of your mind. Vision is not passive reception. It's active construction, an ongoing process of assembly, happening constantly, invisibly, every moment your eyes are open. Fact 80 for memory is not stored in a single location, but distributed across multiple brain networks. Your memories are not filed away in one specific place like documents in a cabinet. Instead, they are woven throughout interconnected networks spanning multiple brain regions. The hippocampus, prefrontal cortex, amygdala, and many other areas all contribute to different aspects of remembering. Visual details might be stored in one region, emotional content in another, sounds and smells in yet others. When you recall a memory, your brain reassembles these scattered pieces, bringing them together into a coherent experience. This distributed storage means memories are dynamic and reconstructive, not fixed recordings. Each time you remember something, you're actively rebuilding it, and in the process, you might alter it slightly. Memory is not static or perfectly accurate. It's fluid, malleable, and deeply connected to how you understand yourself and the world. Every recollection is a creative act, a story retold and slightly reshaped with each telling. Fact 86. Your brain uses chemical gradients to shape thought patterns and regulate mood. Within the intricate circuits of your brain, thoughts are influenced not just by electrical signals but by subtle chemical variations. Neurotransmitters like dopamine, or serotonin, and glutamate create gradients, differences in concentration that affect how signals move between neurons. These chemical gradients influence your mood, attention, motivations, and behavior. They help prioritize what's important and filter out what's not. They modulate signal strength, timing, and sensitivity throughout neural networks. Unlike binary switches that are simply on or off, brain chemistry creates shades of possibility. It allows for nuance, flexibility, and adaptation. This is part of why thoughts feel fluid rather than mechanical, why emotions can shift gradually, why your mental state changes throughout the day. Your thoughts ride waves of molecules through a sea of electrical activity. The mind doesn't operate with rigid precision. It flows, shifts, and adapts through chemical nuance. Fact 87. Some cells in your retina are specifically tuned to detect motion rather than light intensity. Deep within your retina are specialized neurons called ganglion cells. While many respond to brightness and color, certain ones are specifically designed to detect movement across your field of vision. These motion-sensitive cells can determine how fast something is moving and in what direction. They can respond to a single pixel shifting on a screen. They are so finely tuned that they help you track objects, react to sudden changes, and navigate through dynamic environments. You might not consciously notice them working, but every time something moves in your peripheral vision, these cells spring into action. They catch the motion before you've fully turned your head. They alert your brain to changes before you consciously register them. Your eyes don't just measure light. They sense change, detecting movement with specialized hardware designed specifically for that purpose. Fact 88. Your digestive system has more neurons than your spinal cord. Lining the walls of your intestines is an extensive network containing over 100 million neurons. This is actually more than the number found in your entire spinal cord. This enteric nervous system manages digestion independently. It controls the rhythmic contractions that push food through your gut. It regulates enzyme secretion. It coordinates the complex choreography of breaking down food and absorbing nutrients. Sometimes called the second brain, this system can operate even when disconnected from your central nervous system. It has its own reflexes, its own patterns, its own form of intelligence. It communicates with your brain through the vagus nerve, but it doesn't need constant instructions. Your gut thinks for itself in a very real sense. It responds, adapts, and manages the immense complexity of digestion using its own vast network of neurons, working largely in autonomy. Fact 89. Almost every organ in your body has its own internal circadian rhythm. While your brain's master clock responds to light and darkness, nearly every organ maintains its own internal 24-hour cycle. Your liver, heart, lungs, kidneys, and even fat tissue all follow circadian rhythms. These peripheral clocks regulate when certain processes happen. Your liver is more active at metabolizing fats during certain hours. Your heart rate naturally fluctuates throughout the day. Cellular repair peaks at specific times. Hormone release follows predictable patterns. These organ clocks are synchronized by signals from your brain, but they can also respond independently to other cues like meal timing, temperature, or physical activity. Disrupting these rhythms through irregular sleep, shift work, or jet lag affects everything from digestion to immunity to metabolism. Your body doesn't run on a single schedule. It's a symphony of clocks, all ticking together, tuned to the daily cycle of Earth's rotation around the sun. Fact 90. Your body temperature changes throughout the day following a natural rhythm. Though it seems stable, your body temperature actually rises and falls in a predictable pattern throughout each day. It tends to be lowest in the early morning hours, just before you wake up, and highest in the late afternoon or early evening. This rhythm is part of your circadian cycle, controlled by hormones, metabolism, and brain signals. Even small movements generate heat and raise your temperature slightly. Rest and sleep allow it to drop naturally. These fluctuations affect many things. Your alertness tends to peak when temperature is higher. Certain medications work better at specific times. Women may experience additional temperature variations related to hormonal cycles. You are never at a fixed temperature. You're thermally alive, adjusting moment by moment, tuned to internal clocks that respond to the rhythm of day and night. Fact 91. Human bones are stronger under compression than when pulled apart. Your bones may appear uniform, but their strength depends heavily on how force is applied. When compressed, when pushed together, bone is remarkably strong and can bear thousands of pounds of pressure, but when subjected to tension, when pulled apart or bent, bone becomes more vulnerable to fracture. This happens because bone is a composite material made of rigid minerals and flexible collagen fibers. Compression squeezes these components together, reinforcing the structure. Tension stretches and separates them, creating weak points. Engineers study these properties when designing prosthetics, implants, and even buildings. Your body, through millions of years of evolution, has adapted to these mechanical realities. Your skeleton's shape, your muscle attachments, your posture, all evolved to keep your bones primarily under compression rather than tension. You're designed to bear weight, to stand upright, to move against gravity's constant downward pull. Fact 92. The Achilles tendon can withstand over 1,000 pounds of force. Connecting your calf muscles to your heel bone is the Achilles tendon, the thickest and strongest tendon in your entire body. When you run, jump, or climb stairs, this tendon acts like a spring, storing and releasing energy with each movement. Under peak conditions, it can handle forces exceeding 1,000 pounds. This incredible resilience comes from its dense structure of collagen fibers, all aligned precisely to handle stress in the direction of pull. It transmits the power of your calf muscles efficiently across the ankle joint. Despite its strength, the Achilles tendon is also vulnerable to injury, particularly from overuse or sudden stress. It's a perfect example of biological engineering, powerful and efficient, yet still subject to the limits of organic tissue. It's a cable of pure function, silently powering every step you take, every jump you make, absorbing and releasing tremendous forces with elegant efficiency. Fact 93. You have protective reflexes that prevent you from biting your tongue until they fail. Under normal circumstances, your nervous system includes safeguards that make it difficult to accidentally bite your tongue while chewing. Sensory feedback from your tongue to your brain helps coordinate jaw movements precisely. Your brain receives constant information about where your tongue is positioned. It times the closing of your teeth to avoid contact. It adjusts bite force and direction automatically. This happens so smoothly you never think about it. But under certain conditions, like during a seizure, when startled, or when chewing too quickly, these reflexes can fail. The coordination breaks down momentarily and an accidental bite occurs. It's a small example of the body's constant vigilance, systems working together to protect even the most vulnerable parts. Each meal is actually a carefully orchestrated performance of coordination, precision, and split-second timing, with built-in safeguards that usually go completely unnoticed. Fact 94. Dreams help your brain encode memories, solve problems, and process emotions. While you sleep, especially during periods of vivid dreaming, your brain engages in profound internal work. It's not resting or shutting down. It's actively processing, organizing, and integrating information from your waking hours. Dreams appear to strengthen learning by replaying and consolidating memories. They help solve difficult problems by exploring solutions in symbolic, abstract ways. They process emotions, particularly fear and anxiety, by rehearsing threatening scenarios in a safe, imaginary environment. The amygdala, which handles fear and emotion, stays highly active during dreams. The hippocampus, essential for memory formation, replays fragments of recent experiences. Though dream content often seems bizarre or surreal, the underlying purpose may be intensely practical. You're not simply drifting while you dream, you're rehearsing, organizing, processing, and preparing for the challenges ahead in the quiet theatre of sleep. Factor 95. You consciously perceive only a tiny fraction of the sensory information your body receives. Right now, your senses are gathering an overwhelming flood of information. The pressure of your clothes against your skin, the temperature of the air, background sounds you're not focusing on, the position of your limbs in space, but your conscious mind perceives only a small slice of this input. The vast majority is filtered out, processed unconsciously, or simply ignored. Your brain acts as a gatekeeper, deciding what's novel, urgent, or emotionally significant enough at all to reach your awareness. This filtering is absolutely essential. Without it, you'd be overwhelmed by the constant barrage of sensation. Specialized neural pathways in the thalamus and prefrontal cortex sort through incoming data, allowing attention to focus on what matters most. Beneath conscious awareness, your body listens, evaluates, and responds to countless signals. You're surrounded by sensation, but your mind carefully chooses which story to tell. Fact 96. Some of your cells are older than your bones, creating a mosaic of different ages. Many cells in your body renew frequently. Skin cells replace themselves every few weeks. Blood cells last only months. Gut lining cells turn over in days, but other cells persist for much longer. Some neurons in your brain have been with you since birth and will remain until you die. Certain muscle cells can last a lifetime. Even some fat cells endure for decades. Meanwhile, your entire skeleton, which feels so permanent, is completely remodeled every 10 years. This means some of your oldest cells live in soft tissues, while your hard bones are actually younger. You're not uniformly aged. You're a mosaic of different timelines, some parts ancient, others newly formed, all stitched together in an ongoing flow of time. Fact 97. Human blood types extend far beyond the common AB, and O classifications. Most people know about the major blood groups, A, B, AB, and O, along with Rh positive or negative status. But blood typing is actually far more complex. There are over 30 recognized blood group systems, each defined by unique antigens on red blood cell surfaces. Some blood types are extremely rare. The Bombay blood type lacks a fundamental antigen found in nearly everyone else, and can only receive blood from others with the same rare type. Rh-null blood, sometimes called golden blood, has no Rh antigens at all. Fewer than 50 people worldwide are known to have it. Your blood carries a molecular signature far more intricate than most realize. It's shaped by genetics, evolution, and rare biological variations. Each person's blood is a unique chemical identity, a fingerprint written in antigens and antibodies. Fact 98. Your immune system remembers infections for decades, sometimes for life. Once your body successfully fights off a virus or bacterium, it doesn't forget. Specialized immune cells called memory B cells and memory T cells remain in your system long after the infection is cleared. These cells store detailed information about the pathogen. If that same invader returns years later, your immune system recognizes it immediately and mounts a much faster, more powerful defense. Some immune memories fade over time, requiring booster vaccinations, but others last for decades, even an entire lifetime. This principle is the foundation of vaccination, which safely trains your immune system without causing actual illness. Your immunity is not just reactive, it's adaptive, intelligent, and historical. Every infection you survive becomes part of a vast cellular library, a living record of battles fought and won, written into your biology. Fact 99. Your muscles produce tiny electrical fields even when you're completely at rest. Muscles do more than contract and relax. Even when perfectly still, they generate subtle electrical currents. These signals result from ions flowing across cell membranes, a process that maintains muscle readiness. Though incredibly faint, these electrical fields can be detected on your skin's surface using sensitive instruments. Electromyography measures these signals to diagnose muscle disorders or track fatigue during physical activity. The presence of this low-level electricity means your muscles are never truly inactive. They're always slightly prepared, humming quietly beneath the surface, ready to respond. Even in sleep, they maintain a baseline electrical activity. Your body is never genuinely still. It pulses constantly with microscopic signals, a quiet electrical whisper of life and readiness beneath your skin. Fact 100. Every heartbeat sends a pressure wave through your entire body, including your brain. With each beat, your heart doesn't just move blood. It creates a surge, a pressure wave that travels throughout your entire circulatory system, including the delicate vessels in your brain. This wave gently expands the walls of cerebral arteries. Recent research suggests that the timing of this pulse may subtly influence neural activity, affecting perception, attention, and even emotion. You don't consciously feel it, but your brain registers this rhythmic pressure. Your heart and brain are not separate, isolated systems. They're deeply interconnected, linked by blood, by pressure, by rhythm. They pulse together in time, a quiet partnership that plays throughout your entire life. Every thought you think happens against the backdrop of your heartbeat. Every feeling you experience rides the rhythm of blood flowing through your mind. And now, everything grows quieter. The heart continues its faithful rhythm. The lungs continue their gentle rise and fall. But the questions have softened. The thoughts have slowed. Maybe something has stayed with you from this journey. A shape, a feeling, a quiet trace of wonder. Or perhaps it's already fading, dissolving like breath in the darkness. That's perfectly fine. You don't need to hold on to anything. The body doesn't ask for understanding or analysis. It simply exists. It breathes, repairs, remembers, renews. It holds you through stillness and change, through waking and sleeping. It asks for nothing but rest and keeps faithful watch as you drift. Out there in the universe, as stars are burning, galaxies are spinning through endless night. And here inside you, your own galaxies shift and move. Cells are dividing. Electrical currents are flowing. Signals are pulsing in rhythms too small and too constant to name. Even in sleep, even in the deepest rest, you remain vast, complex, miraculous. So let your shoulders soften now. Let your breath deepen and slow. There's nothing left that needs doing. No problems to solve, no information to retain. The body knows its work. It will carry you gently through the night, repairing, renewing, restoring. Under these quiet stars, under this peaceful darkness, the story continues. Not with words, but with the silent language of cells, of breath, of heartbeat. You're part of something ancient and ongoing, something that began long before you and will continue long after. Rest now, let go. Allow yourself to drift into whatever comes next. Whether that's sleep or simply quiet stillness, it's exactly what you need. Thank you for taking this journey through the miraculous landscape of the human body. Thank you for listening, for wondering, for being here. I hope you sleep deeply and dream softly. Good night.